What's up, guys? I'm bringing to you my December wrap-up, the final wrap-up of the year for 2015, and I can't believe it's 2016. It's already January 2nd. Where did the time go? But anyway, I feel like I've actually gotten back into reading now. Like, I read kind of more than usual than just the 2 to 3 books each month. Granted, most of them are like graphic novel-y type stuff, but I still did read a lot more, and especially in the end of the month, so let's get to that now. The first book that I completed this month was Hamlet by William Shakespeare. I read this for my AP English class, and I finished it this month. I started it in November, but I ended up rating it 3 stars because I was just like, I'm like forced to read this. I'm not really enjoying this. It was like hard to understand. Again, I've already established that I don't really like Shakespeare. I read only 2 of his other plays. I just already know that I don't like him. So I knew going into this I probably wouldn't like it a lot. I will say though it's my favorite play so far, but I still didn't really like it that much. There was only one character in the whole play that I actually enjoyed. And by the end I was just like, this is ridiculous. The second book that I completed this month was a graphic novel, and it was The Sculptor by Scott McCloud. I borrowed this from the library, so that's why I don't have it in my hands. And this was a graphic novel, but it was really big. It was like probably half of my face size. I'm not even joking. The premise of this graphic novel was about this sculptor's failed art career who has a visitation from death who offers him a deal in which he will have the ability to sculpt out of any material, like concrete, just any material at all, but he will only have 200 days to live. I ended up rating it 4 stars. I really enjoyed this graphic novel, like the story. It was just interesting. Just an overall interesting story to read through. However, I felt like the ending was not satisfying enough for me personally. I don't know. Like, it just kind of abruptly ended. I was just like, I need more. And also throughout the book, the main character, through his eyes, we see like his suffering about like how he like lost his family or something. And it's like not really a spoiler because it's like way in the beginning of the book, but like we never really know what happened to his family. Like, that's just never explained, and I wish, like, I felt like I would have understood his struggles and emotional turmoil a little bit more if that was explained. The next book I read was Library of Souls by Ransom Riggs, the final concluding book in the Miss Peregrine's Peculiar Children series, trilogy, whatever it's called, and this was so good. I rated it 4.5 stars. I will say, it actually, like, for the beginning and middle, I was like, with the plot, like, it was like, it was less exciting somewhat than the other installments, I guess, but it definitely did pick up, and oh my god, it like got really good by like, I don't even know what point, maybe like halfway, a little bit more than halfway through. It picked up a lot and it got really good, and the ending was amazing. It was just the perfect ending that like could happen for a series, and it's just like the ending like reignited my like for this series, like, because just the ending was so good, and I just haven't been in this world for so long. But this is honestly such an amazing, well written and thought out series, so if you want to read this series, you definitely should. After I read Library of Souls, which actually took a majority of the month, I just like got a whole bunch of books from the library, and so from here on forward, all the books that I read were from the library. The next book I completed was Death Note Volume 2, Confluence by Tsugumi Ohba and Takeshi Obata. This is the second volume in the Death Note series, and I rated this 3 stars, I think, on Goodreads, somewhere around there. I enjoyed this slightly more than the first volume, although I had some of the same thoughts, abrupt ending. I mean, it wasn't amazing, but it was slightly better. I think the plot thickened a little bit more and it was more interesting in this volume. We get some character progression, some new characters are introduced, and it was just overall more interesting than the first volume. The next book I completed was Deadly Class Volume 2, Kids of the Black Hole by Rick Remender and I can never remember their name. Okay, all these people. Yeah, anyway, I rated this volume 4.5 stars. It was so intense. The plot was like actually somewhat more interesting than the first one because the first one just kind of introduced all the characters and introduced the situation, blah blah blah. So this one was like more plot based and it was actually super intense. It was so interesting. I just flew through it once I got into it. My only complaint and the reason why I didn't rate it a full 5 stars is because I felt like this volume was a little bit short. Like I flew through it way too quickly. Like the first one was like a little bit longer than this. And the final thing that I read this month was Death Note Volume 3 Hard Run by Tsugumi Ohba and Takeshi Obata. Okay, got it now. Anyway, this was like a 2.5, 2.75 star rating for me, honestly. And on Goodreads, I have it just listed as like 2 stars, or like maybe in the review I say 2.75 stars. But honestly, this review, what am I talking about? This graphic novel volume was honestly quite boring. It was like such a jump down from the second one, which I liked slightly better than the first one. And then this one just like goes even further down in quality. It's just the same thing now, like 3rd volume, and it's like pretty much the same plot as the 2nd volume, following Light and then the L detective. It's just getting a little bit tiring now, and there was some unanswered questions that were annoying. However, an interesting plot twist was introduced at the end of this volume, and I do have the 4th volume checked out because I just checked out the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th volumes all at once just to like fly through them. So I will be reading the 4th volume, but if I do not like the 4th volume, then I don't know, maybe I just won't continue this series. There were also 2 books that I started near the end of the month that I ended up not finishing. The first book was The Rose Society by Marie Lu, and this is the sequel to The Young Elites, which I read at the very beginning of 2015, and I've only gotten to page 12. Like, the Young Elites wasn't my most favorite book ever, but the ending was really good, so that's why I'm reading this one. And the second book that I have unfinished is Deadly Class Volume 3, The Snake Pit, by all those authors I said before. But anyway, this is like pretty much just intense plot, just like the 2nd volume, and I'm more than halfway through it. I'm really enjoying it so far. So that's it for this month's wrap up, or should I say last month's wrap up. And I will be uploading my best books of 2015 and worst books of 2015 videos probably soon. I still have to film them, but I will see you later in those videos. Bye!